The woman just shakes the dust off the rag, but the man mistook it for a greeting, so he took off his hat and responded warmly. His hearty laugh made the woman's heart skip a beat. She didn't poke her head out until the man walked away. Ethel was just a servant girl in a rich man's house. Love was out of her reach, but on the next day she flung her rag anyway. This time the man still responded with enthusiasm. This warmed Ethel's heart. On the third day it rained heavily outside. She didn't think the man would pass by, but not a moment later, the man appeared in his raincoat, but there was no one at the window, and he could only leave in despair. Day 4. Ethel stood at the window for a long time, but she didn't see that smile. She thought she'd never see each other again. However, on the 5th day, a doorbell suddenly rang. Ethel answered the door as she always did. It turned out that the man's name was Stout. He laughed and said he was the one she shook the rag at. Ethel wanted to explain that it was a coincidence, but she hesitated. Stout was a gentleman and invited her on a date. At night they went to the movies together. While the man and woman in the movie were kissing, Stur slowly took her into his arms. That day Ethel took him home to meet her parents. On the way back she complained to Stout why he wouldn't take her home, because his house was in a troubled old neighborhood, and the doorway was often littered with horse manure. Stout didn't hide anything from her, and Ethel didn't care. Soon after, she asked her wife to leave her job. She gave up a job to marry a poor boy. This behavior seemed stupid to Mrs.
I'm gonna be married.
So am I!
After seeing this scene, Madam was envious again. They took out a loan for 25 years to buy an old house. The bedrooms have the big windows they like. It also came with a backyard that could be a garden, though it's empty inside now, but they believe they can work together to turn this place into a warm home. They got married with the blessing of their friends and family, although there is no furniture in the wedding house, but Ethel felt very happy. Stout went out every day to deliver milk. Ethel cleaned the house. They had been married for 2 years without a baby. This made 37-year-old Ethel very worried. Sa could only take her into his arms and comfort her. To make his wife happy, he bought a huge mirror, and Ethel brought him a surprise. She was finally pregnant.
We're going to...
I can't believe it.
That day Sturt went to work as usual. He didn't know that his wife had called the midwife. When he found out, he rushed home. He kept asking how his wife was doing, instead of asking how the baby was first. That shows how much he loved Ethel. The doctor called him out on his way out, because Ethel was an older woman. The labor was very difficult, so they can't have any more children in the future. Otherwise it would jeopardize Ethel's life. Although they wanted to have a big family, Stout chose to give it up. The son grew up in their care. There's a new fancy cafe down the road. Stout made a promise to take her there later. One day Stout came home to find his wife was crying her heart out. He thought something serious had happened. Since their son was going to school, his beautiful blonde hair was going to be cut off.
What's wrong with Mum?